Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Anaya Armondibali and I'm a foundation level student at Rihan School. So today I will ask some questions from Maya on the topic of why are remote jobs becoming so popular today. So let's get started. So hi Maya, how are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm doing great, and I'm so excited to dive into this with you. Thanks for having me on your session. The biggest draw
Okay, so my question from you is that what is the main reason people choose remote jobs?
the biggest draw has to be the flexibility. It's not just about skipping the commute, although that's a huge win. It's really about having more control over your own time and environment. It lets people build their work around their life instead of the other way around.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how has the technology made remote work easier?
It's honestly kind of wild how much has changed. Cloud computing and high speed internet are the real MVPs here. Tools like Zoom, Slack, and Google offices, making it possible to collaborate in real time without ever being in the same zip code.
Okay, so my next question from you is that did the COVID-19 pandemic increase remote jobs?
Oh, absolutely. It was basically a global crash course in remote work. Before the pandemic, a lot of companies were hesitant or just didn't see the point, but suddenly they had no choice. It proved to the world that you don't need to be sitting in a cubicle to be productive. And for many, there was no going back once they tasted that freedom.
Okay, so my next question from you is that uh, why do companies offer remote jobs now?
It's a win-win for them, really. For starters, companies can hire the best talent from anywhere in the world, not just people who live within driving distance of an office. Plus, they save a fortune on real estate and electricity when they don't have to maintain a massive building. It's just a much leaner way to run a business.
Okay, so my next question from you is that why do remote jobs have time? Why do remote jobs save time for workers?
I think you might have missed a word there. Did you mean how they save time for workers? If so, it's all about that commute. Getting those hours back from traffic is a total game changer.
Okay, so my next question from you is that why do employees enjoy working from home?
It's a mix of things, but the comfort factor is huge. Being able to work in your own space, maybe in your favorite chair, or just wearing something way more comfortable than office clothes makes a big difference in how the day feels. Plus, it's much easier to handle small personal things like putting on a load of laundry or taking a quick walk, which keeps people from feeling so burnt out.
Okay, so my next question from you is that can remote jobs reduce stress and how?
They definitely can. A huge part of it is just removing the daily friction. No fighting traffic, no stressful office politics you can't escape, and no constant interruptions from a coworker popping by your desk. When you can control your environment, maybe put on some music or just have some actual quiet, it's much easier to get into a flow state, which makes the work itself feel a lot less overwhelming.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how do remote jobs improve work life balance?
It's all about reclaiming those hidden hours in the day. When you aren't spending 2 hours a day in a car or on a train, that time goes straight back into your own pocket. It means you can actually be present for dinner, get a full night's sleep, or just have a hobby again. It shifts the focus from how do I fit my life around my job to how does my job fit into my life, which is a total shift in perspective.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how do remote job help parents?
It's a total lifesaver for them. Being able to be there for the small, important moments, like picking the kids up from school or being home when they get sick, without having to navigate a complicated request for time off is huge. Takes a massive weight off their shoulders and lets them be more present as parents while still getting their work done.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how do freelancers like remote jobs?
Mm-mm. For freelancers, it's basically the gold standard. They get to curate their entire professional life. Instead of being tied to one city or one boss, they can take on clients from all over the globe and work from wherever they feel most inspired. It gives them a level of independence and variety that you just can't find in a traditional office setup.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how do business benefit from remote employees?
It's a huge advantage for them. The biggest one is the talent pool. Instead of being limited to whoever happens to live within a 30-mile radius of the office, they can hire the absolute best person for the job, regardless of where they are in the world. Plus, like I mentioned earlier, the overhead savings on rent and utilities are a massive bonus for the bottom line.
Okay, so my next question from you is that can remote work reduce office costs?
Oh, for sure. When a company doesn't have to pay for a massive skyscraper in a downtown area, the savings are huge. They're not just cutting out the rent, they're saving on electricity, water, office furniture, and even the endless supply of coffee and snacks in the break room. It turns a huge fixed expense into something much more manageable.
Okay, so my next question from you is that why do companies hire people from different countries?
It's all about the global talent pool. Why limit yourself to one city or even one country when the perfect person for the job might be halfway across the world? It allows companies to find specialized skills that might be rare locally, and it brings in so many different perspectives and cultural insights that can actually make a product or service better for a global market.
Okay, so my next question from you is that can people earn more with remote jobs?
It definitely can, but it's a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, you can live in a place with a lower cost of living while earning a salary from a big city where pay is higher, which is like a secret cheat code for your bank account. On the other hand, some companies try to adjust pay based on where the employee actually lives. It really depends on the company's philosophy on pay equity.
Okay, so my next question from you is that why are digital skills important for remote work?
Because your computer is basically your entire office. Since you aren't just walking over to someone's desk to ask a question, you have to be comfortable with the tools that bridge that gap. Knowing your way around collaboration software, cloud sharing, and even just basic troubleshooting means you can stay productive without needing an IT person standing right next to you. It's the difference between feeling totally in control and feeling like you're fighting with your laptop all day.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how which industries have the most remote jobs?
Tech is definitely the big one. Software development, data analysis, and cybersecurity are basically built for this. But you also see it a lot in digital marketing, finance, and customer support. Basically, if the primary tool for the job is a computer and an internet connection, there's a good chance it's gone remote.
Okay, so my next question from you is that what types of remote jobs are growing the fastest?
I'd say AI and machine learning are absolutely exploding right now. Since those roles are all about coding and data, they're a perfect fit for remote setups. We're also seeing a huge surge in healthcare roles like telehealth and online therapy, as well as project management for global teams. Basically, anything that involves coordinating people or providing specialized expertise across different time zones is taking off.
Okay, so my next question from you is that can students do remote job while studying?
They absolutely can. That's actually one of the best parts about remote work for students. It lets you fit a job into the gaps between classes and study sessions without having to worry about a rigid commute. Whether it's freelance writing, virtual assistant work, or data entry, it's a great way to gain professional experience and earn some money while you're still in school.
Okay, so my next question from you is that what tools make remote work possible?
It's a huge ecosystem of tools, really. You've got communication apps like Slack and Microsoft Teams for the quick back and forth, and video platforms like Zoom or Google Meet for those face to face meetings. Then there's project management software like Trello, Asana, or Monday.com to keep everyone on the same page about what needs to get done. And of course, the backbone of it all is cloud storage like Google Drive or Dropbox, so everyone can access the same files from anywhere in the world.
Okay, so my next question from you is that what happen? Why do business use video meetings?
Because it brings back the human element. When you're just typing in a chat box, it's easy to misread someone's tone or miss the subtext. Video meetings let you see facial expressions and body language, which makes a huge difference in building trust and preventing misunderstandings. It's the closest thing we have to actually being in the same room together.
Okay, so my next question from you is that what challenges come with remote jobs?
It's not all pajamas and coffee, unfortunately. The biggest one is definitely the feeling of isolation. When you don't have those random water cooler chats or a quick lunch with a teammate, it can start to feel a bit lonely. Then there's the always on trap, where the line between your living room and your office disappears and you find yourself answering emails at 9 p.m. because your laptop is just right there.
Okay, so my next question from you is that what how can how do remote workers communicate with their teams?
Mm, it's usually a mix of different styles, depending on how urgent the message is. For the quick day to day stuff, most teams use instant messaging apps like Slack or Teams. It's basically the digital version of popping your head over a cubicle. For the bigger things like brainstorming or formal updates, they'll jump on a video call. And for things that need a paper trail or a detailed explanation, email is still the go to. It's all about picking the right tool for the moment.
Okay, so my next question from you is that what skills should someone learn for remote work?
First and foremost, time management is everything. When your boss isn't looking over your shoulder, you have to be your own manager. Being able to set a schedule and actually stick to it is the difference between getting your work done and spending 4 hours staring at your laundry. Beyond that, strong written communication is huge. Since so much of remote work happens over text or email, being clear and concise without sounding like a robot is a superpower. And of course, a bit of technical self reliance, knowing how to fix your own Wi Fi or figure out a new app without calling IT every 10 minutes makes you a dream employee.
Okay, so my next question from you is that can remote job improve employee happiness?
In a lot of cases, absolutely. When people have more autonomy and less stress from things like commuting, their overall mood usually takes a huge leap forward. It's that feeling of trust from an employer, knowing you're judged by the quality of your work rather than how many hours you're sitting in a chair. That really boosts happiness. Plus, being able to spend more time with the people and pets you love is a massive win for mental health.
Okay, so my next question from you is that why do some people still prefer office jobs?
For some, the social energy of an office is just irreplaceable. There are people who really thrive on that spontaneous collaboration, the kind of ideas that only happen when you're chatting in the break room. Plus, for a lot of people, the physical separation between work and home is the only way they can actually turn their brain off at the end of the day. Without that commute to act as a buffer, work can start to feel like it's bleeding into every corner of their life.
Okay, so my next question from you is that what skills should someone learn? Can remote jobs help reduce traffic?
They definitely can. If a significant chunk of the workforce stops commuting every morning and evening, it takes a massive amount of pressure off the roads. Fewer cars means less congestion, fewer accidents, and a lot less frustration for the people who actually have to drive. It's a win for the planet, too, since fewer idling cars mean lower emissions.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how do remote jobs help the environment?
It's a huge win for the planet. The most direct impact is the drop in carbon emissions because there are way fewer cars on the road during rush hour. But it goes beyond just the commute. Think about the energy needed to power, heat, and cool these massive office buildings every single day. When people work from home, you see a decrease in that huge corporate energy footprint and usually a big dip in the amount of single use plastics and waste that comes with office life, like those endless piles of paper and coffee pods.
Okay, so my next question from you is that can what mistakes should beginners avoid in remote jobs?
The biggest trap is definitely the always on mentality. It's so tempting to keep checking emails or Slacks at midnight just because your laptop is right there, but that's a fast track to burnout. Beginners should also avoid over communicating or under communicating. You don't want to spam your boss every 5 minutes, but you also can't just disappear for 3 hours without a word, or people start wondering if you vanished. Setting clear boundaries and being proactive about your progress is the way to go.
Okay, so my next question from you is that are remote jobs available for beginners?
They definitely are. There are tons of entry level roles like data entry, virtual assistants, or customer support that don't require years of experience. The trick is to highlight those digital skills we talked about, like being a pro at Google Docs or Zoom, because that shows an employer you can actually handle the remote part of the job without a handhold.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how do companies measure remote employees' performance?
It's a shift from watching the clock to watching the results. Since they can't see you sitting at your desk, companies rely on output based tracking. They use things like key performance indicators or KPIs and set very clear milestones. Basically, as long as the work is high quality and delivered by the deadline, the boss is happy, regardless of whether you did it at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. in your pajamas.
Okay, so my next question from you is that can people switch from office jobs to remote jobs easily?
For a lot of people, it's pretty smooth transition, but it really depends on the role. If the work is already digital, it's mostly just a matter of moving the laptop from a desk in an office to a desk at home. The real challenge isn't the work itself, it's the mindset shift. Some people struggle with the lack of social structure or find it hard to stop working and the office is just their living room. But once you nail the routine, most people find it's a total upgrade.
Okay, so my next question from you is that are remote
I'm listening.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how do remote jobs help the environment?
It's actually a huge win for the planet. The most direct impact is the drop in carbon emissions since there are way fewer cars on the road during rush hour. But it goes beyond the commute. Think about the energy needed to power, heat, and cool those massive office buildings every single day. When people work from home, that corporate energy footprint shrinks, and you usually see a dip in the amount of single use plastics and waste that comes with office life, like those endless piles of paper and coffee pods.
Okay, so my next question from you is that what can remote jobs provide long-term career growth?
They absolutely can, though it looks a bit different than the traditional climb up the corporate ladder. In a physical office, growth often happens through proximity biases. Basically, the boss notices you because you're the one always there. In a remote setup, your growth is driven by your actual results and your ability to communicate your wins. It pushes you to become better at documenting your impact and taking ownership of projects, which are actually huge leadership skills. Plus, you have access to a global market, so you're not limited to the growth opportunities in your own city.
Okay, so my next question from you is that how do remote jobs change the way people live?
It fundamentally shifts the center of gravity in a person's life. Instead of picking a home based on where the job is, people start picking a home based on where they actually want to be. It lets you move closer to family, live in a quieter town, or even travel. It basically turns the work life balance from a buzzword into something you can actually design because your living room isn't just where you crash after a long day, it's where your professional and personal lives finally get to coexist.
Okay, so my next question from you is that what advice would you give to someone starting remote work?
My biggest piece of advice is to build a psychological wall between your work and your home. When your office is also your living room, it's dangerously easy to feel like you're always on the clock. Whether it's a dedicated desk, a specific pair of work shoes, or just a 10-minute walk to signal the start and end of the day, you need a ritual that tells your brain when to be a professional and when to just be a human. Otherwise, you'll find yourself answering emails at midnight just because the laptop is right there.
Okay, so my next question from you is that why do you think remote jobs are the future?
Um, because the genie is officially out of the bottle. Once people realized they could do their jobs just as well, or even better, without spending 10 hours a week in traffic, there was no going back. Technology is only getting more immersive, and companies have seen that they can find the best talent in the world, not just the best talent within a 20-mile radius of an office. It's just a more human way of working that prioritizes output over attendance.
Okay, so my last question from you is that if you could give one tip for succeeding in a remote job, what would it be?
Over communicate. Since you don't have the benefit of a quick chat in the hallway or a glance at a coworker's screen, visibility is everything. Be proactive about sharing your progress and asking questions. When you make your work visible, you build trust, and trust is the real currency of remote work.
Okay, so viewers, this was my talk with Maya on the topic of what are remote jobs, why are remote jobs becoming so popular today. So hope you enjoyed it. So let's meet another talk with Maya like this. So till then, Lafis Pakistan Zindabad.